Can my AI life coach help coach me, a life coach, to establish a new direction in my business? Let's see. So, I recently learned how to program my own chatbot coach on ChatGPT by training it in my professional core competencies as well as my own personal style as a coach. And I've been extremely curious to try it out. So, this is just the beta version of it. And I want to see how well it performs for me right now. And once I've finished filming this episode, I will program all of my feedback into it to help it improve its skills. This week, I'm testing it out in 4 different areas of my life. So, check out all of the episodes I post this week if you're curious how well it coaches me in my creativity, my marriage, my parenthood, and my business. And if you'd like to try the bot out for yourself, I'll include the link to it for free in the description box. Now, if you're just tuning into this segment, I have had a few coaching conversations, and I want to do a little training for my bot before I dive into what I want to work on right now. So here we go. Thank you. Now I'd like to start a new coaching conversation. Please keep the reflections minimal and focus on asking powerful and open-ended questions, being deeply curious and insightful, and partnering with genuine trust from me to get to the root of my obstacles so I can create new awareness. Remember to only ask one question at a time. I'd like to talk about my business and more specifically, my future vision and goals for my business. My thoughts are this. I just had a baby and am navigating the ups and downs of interrupted sleep. My capacity is not very reliable to launch some grand program right now. I also don't know if I am done having babies within the next year or so. So the idea of onboarding a bunch of new one-on-one clients seems daunting when I may have to account for another maternity leave. Right now, I am building my audience and my voice on social media through consistently posting and offering free downloads, podcasts, YouTube videos, and TikTok and Instagram Reels. I'm considering starting a paid Substack or a Patreon or something more insider access to my brain and ideas and tools. But that's obviously a small stream of revenue right now as the audience continues to grow. So what do I do? Do I plan a short program for later in the year? Do I build a retreat? Do I reverse engineer based on money? Do I just onboard one-on-one clients anyway? Do I keep marketing my alumni contentment creator circle to my already qualified clients without building any new leads? How do I decide what to build right now with this smaller capacity? If you imagined looking back 3 years from now, feeling deeply proud of how you navigated this season of motherhood and business, what would that version of you say you prioritized building during this period of lower capacity? Decent question. I believe in building my audience most right now. When you say build your audience, what does that audience ultimately enable for you? In other words, what future opportunities or type of business becomes possible once that audience exists? This is promising. I imagine broader types of content, more edited and refined than what I'm able to produce right now. I see paid and free communities I manage and a Discord with my quote raving fan clients or customers who I interact with and support, and in turn they supply ideas for new videos, new tools, or new offerings. I could launch a course or a short mid-range coaching program or long high-ticket coaching program. I could fill my select one-on-one spots. I'd be free to create content and offerings, show up for my engaged community, and support my one-on-one clients, all while limiting my work to 25-ish hours a week so I can possibly homeschool my kids or at the very least be present and fulfilled mom. What type of audience would make that vision possible? Not just in size, but in who they are, what they care about, and why they keep coming back to you specifically. I really like this. I feel like it integrated my feedback really quickly about eliminating all the talking and trimming the fat and just really getting into the questions. So I'm vibing. The type of audience I imagine are people who are deeply self-reflective and curious, people who own online businesses, like a service or a product, who enjoy creating content for them as well. People who enjoy having an online community they can tap into, who become real friends and support them when it matters. people who care about having enriching marriages and fulfilling parenthoods at any age, and people who keep coming back to me specifically because they know they can be totally transparent and seen, receive the support they're looking for, feel belonging and creatively inspired, and gain value from showing up. It asked, if that is the exact audience you want to attract, which one problem or tension in their lives do you feel most uniquely equipped and most energized to help them navigate right now? The tension of being content versus pursuing change and growth. My people are often motivated by solving problems so they can look for or invent problems to have, which drives down their level of contentment. But when they are in the pursuit of growth in their business or witnessing positive change, they are happy. When growth and change stagnate, they become discontented. So, even if their lives are what they worked for, they don't feel happy and content for long. If that tension, contentment versus growth, is the central problem your audience faces, what kind of transformation would someone experience after spending meaningful time in your world? Not the format of the offer yet, just the shift in how they think, live, or lead their business and life. I am enjoying this and just along for the ride. So hopefully you are getting something out of this for yourself. Let's see. Deconstructing the beliefs or habits that keep leading to discontentment, as well as reinventing who they know themselves to be, what they truly want now, not what they used to want, and stepping back into their visionary role while remaining deeply present. They will have an outlet for them to bring their inner drama and fears to me and walk back into their lives with clarity and contentment and creative inspiration. When someone begins that transformation with you, moving from chronic discontentment towards passive contentment while still pursuing growth, what is the very first shift they typically need to experience before anything else can change? I feel like it's taken my advice a little bit too literally, and now it's not giving me any sort of reflection. It's just giving question after question after question, which is not bad in of itself, but I kind of want to know what it's noticing. So I'm going to ask. Before I answer, can you please offer a little bit of insight before each question? Just 1 to 3 sentences that reflects what you notice about my responses. I don't want paragraphs and bullet points of information, but just little seeds of awareness to plant as we go through this conversation. Let's see. I notice that your vision is already very clear at the transformational level. You can articulate the identity shift your people experience with you. That suggests your obstacle may not be what you do, but where the entry point into that transformation should be, especially in this lower capacity season. Here's the question. When someone first arrives in your world, what belief or pattern is most often keeping them stuck in that cycle of discontentment? I would say, and also you may notice this coaching conversation is going slightly differently than the other coaching conversations because I genuinely feel like it's inspiring me to think more deeply about the quandary that I have brought to this conversation, and it's getting out of my way with all of the words and information that it was kind of throwing at me all those other times. So I'm just in flow and I'm going with it, and I hope this is valuable to you, and then I'll give you some feedback about what I think it could do better in these questions next time. So when someone arrives in your world, what belief or pattern is most often keeping them stuck in that cycle of discontentment? I'd say it's a core fear of failing, which could let down their families, fear of succeeding, which could alienate people they love or make them too stressed to enjoy life, fear of losing a part of themselves, again, which could lead to people leaving them or becoming a version of themselves they've never owned before, fear of going backwards in life, like starting over, being imperfect, experiencing imbalance in their lives or relationships. They think they've tried it all and nothing has worked thus far, so they don't imagine things are changeable. Black and white thinking can hold back new possibilities. I noticed the fears you named are all about identity stability, not just business success. Your people aren't only afraid of outcomes, they're afraid of what change might do to who they are and who they belong to. Good point. So here's the next question. When someone in that state begins working with you, what is the first experience you create that helps them see their situation differently? Okay. We connect deeply to the ontological side of my work, that their lives are a reflection of who they are being. And when we strip away the patterns of behavior that are being driven by survival, protection, fear, or our feelings, and really connect to the true essence of someone, then they can see how much is possible to their lives simply by relating to themselves differently. When they see how much personal agency and power they have to access within them, then we work on refining their vision and desires, building the lives they actually desire. Their inner experience, their well-being, their relationships, their spirituality, their income and business structure, their time and routines, everything can be honed with intention and built for their unique vision. I notice that the core doorway into your work is ontological awareness, helping people see that their lives shift when who they are being shifts. That's a very powerful starting point, and it's also something that can be experienced in layers rather than requiring a large container right away. Here's the next question. What is the smallest, simplest way someone could experience that ontological shift with you without needing a big program or long-term commitment? That's exactly what I want to know. I would love to brainstorm that because I thought making videos that provide those perspective shifts would, but my videos are largely educational and the growth is slow in viewership. Is there a different style of content or delivery that I could try to introduce these concepts to them that still produces evergreen content? I noticed something interesting in what you just said. The core of your work is experiential, but the content you're making right now is mostly educational. That may be why the growth feels slow. People understand the ideas, but they may not yet feel the shift you create in conversation. Here's the next question. If someone could spend just 5 minutes with you and feel that ontological shift, not just understand it, what would happen during those 5 minutes? Okay, this is legitimately really helpful. They would come in asking a surface level question, like me right now, asking what I should do with my business while I'm in this awkward phase of life that creates starts and stops in my offerings. And they would experience a deep question that cracks open a whole new relationship to their life right now, or a whole new perspective on how they think. I noticed something consistent across this entire conversation. Your power is in the question that cracks someone open, not in the explanation afterward. True. But in the moment where someone suddenly sees their life differently because of how you ask the question. So here's the next question. If your audience came to recognize you as the person who asks the question that changes how they see their life, what format would most naturally showcase that ability? I've thought about filming myself, coaching my clients, or offering, quote, rapid coaching sessions that go straight to the heart of the way people think. I did that years ago and never posted any of the content. That's the scariest thing to share, in my opinion, because it's truly like the Oz behind the curtain. What if people don't get it or they don't think my coaching is good enough? Ooh. Getting real with you people. I noticed that the idea that scares you most, letting people see your real coaching, is also the place where your true differentiation seems to live. The fear you named, what if they don't get it or it's not good enough, sounds very similar to the fears you described your audience having about being seen and stepping into a new identity. Hello? Here's the next question. If you knew with certainty that showing real coaching conversations would attract the exact audience you described, even if many people didn't understand it, what would stop you from sharing it? First, let me just interrupt this flow. Like I'm in such a flow right now. Yeah, I like don't have feedback right now because I'm so in this conversation. But what I would say is that by eliminating all of the stop and start talking at me, it's now actually feeling like a real conversation. And it is fairly facilitative in that, again, we didn't establish a coaching request and goal for the conversation, which again is just feedback that I will integrate into the bot itself after I finish filming this. But it seems to understand the general goal of where I'm going in this conversation. And it's really not just asking superficial questions, it's helping me understand what my desires and goals are in my business and what my clients ultimately need from me and where the intersection of those meet. So I'm vibing with this and I am enjoying the questions and I have no notes. I would just need the time and space to carve out scheduling these forums and inviting the right people into them, marketing it, creating the container for it, retuning my skills in a way that I could jump right into the heart of things with a stranger in the first 5 minutes of speaking to them. I noticed that the obstacle you just named isn't actually fear anymore. You quickly moved into logistics and readiness. That suggests a part of you may already believe that this is the right decision. But another part is asking for structure and permission to start small. Here's the next question. What would the smallest possible version of rapid coaching container look like that would let you test this idea without requiring a lot of time, marketing, or preparation? Very simple facilitative question. It's asking me, like, what's the smallest first step I could take? So I could open it to my alumni clients first, who know my coaching well, who would be happy to receive my coaching for free if I offered this as purely a content source and not a paid offering, and who I feel comfortable with right off the bat. I notice something important in what you just said. It's starting with I notice every time, which is not bad, but it is definitely in kind of a formula right now. But the fact that it's short reflections is fine with me. So I noticed something important in what you just said. You immediately identified a group of people who already trust you, understand your coaching, and would feel safe to start with. This suggests you may not want to build anything new to test this idea. You already have a ready-made proving ground. Fair. Here's the next question. If you ran a few of these rapid coaching sessions with your alumni purely as a creative experiment and content source, what outcome would tell you that this direction is worth continuing? I would say if people got great value out of it, if it didn't require a ton of my time or preparation, if I could do it for practice, quote unquote, and if it sucked, I wouldn't have to post it. I could just host another forum again and record it until I get some clips that really work. I noticed something subtle in your answer. You already designed a low-risk feedback loop for yourself. Practice, record, keep only what works, repeat. That's very aligned for the way creators develop strong signal over time. Cool. Here's the next question. If you committed to running this experiment for, say, the next 60 to 90 days, what personal rule would you set so that you could actually follow through and not overthink or abandon it midway? Okay, calling me out. Jeez Louise. All right, I might set up a structure where I limit myself to just 5 questions per person in the call so I don't get sucked into long coaching conversations I wouldn't want to post. Maybe just start with posting a coaching conversation once a week for 6 weeks, which would just require 6 people to start. And if I get more, then I can decide if I want to post more frequently or just build my library of content to post. I notice as you talk through this idea is becoming increasingly concrete and bounded. 5 questions, 6 conversations, 6 weeks. That kind of constraint often makes creative experiments much easier to actually execute. Facts. If you completed those 6 rapid coaching sessions and posted them, what would you be paying attention to in your audience's response that would tell you something meaningful about the direction of your business? Pretty basic. Viewership, retention, comments, subscribing. I noticed that the metrics you named, viewership, retention, comments, and subscribing, are all signals of resonance and curiosity, not immediate revenue. True. That aligns closely with the priority you named earlier, building the right audience first. So here's the next question. If those signals did increase because of these coaching clips, how might that change the kinds of offers or containers you would build later? Good question. Maybe I could build a forum style container down the line within my Patreon or something like that, where people could sign up and receive written or recorded content from me and or participate if they would like to receive actual coaching from me. A real community that actually meets in real time, but also allows for lurkers to enjoy the fruits of the content we discuss. I noticed that the container you're imagining, a forum where some people participate and others quietly observe, mirrors the dynamic of the coaching clips themselves. A few people in the conversation, many people benefiting from witnessing the shift. Meta. Here's the next question. If that future forum community is the natural destination for your audience, how might the coaching clips you create now function as the bridge that leads people into it? I should promote them to join it. I just don't know what platform is the right quote unquote one to host it and how much to charge for my monthly membership. I noticed the moment you started imagining the bridge to a community, your mind immediately jumps to platform and pricing. True. Those are important later, but they usually become clearer once the value and behavior of the audience start revealing themselves. Interesting. If you ignored platform and pricing for a moment, what experience would you want someone inside that future form to consistently have when they show up? They do not get overwhelmed by disorganization. Oh, I hate when you join like a Patreon or something and it's just like a big long feed with a million posts and videos and live streams and all the different things all in one thing. And it's like you're walking in mid-conversation. Not a fan. If it feels like they just log in and see post after post of random videos or written posts or forum recordings, they are less likely to engage. I would want them to be able to go where they feel led, i.e. reading written content, going to a bingeable playlist of videos, watching long form recordings of live coachings, engaging in a chat room to meet other people, etc. I notice that the experience you're describing is intentional navigation, not just access to you. You're imagining a space where people can enter through the doorway that suits them, watching, reading, participating, and quietly observing. Here's the next question. If that organized experience is the end state of the community, what single doorway might someone enter through first when they discover you? Signing up for low-cost access to this portal, a very minimal fee for joining the community. I noticed that the doorway you're imagining is very accessible, a minimal fee and a clear entry point into your world. That suggests you're designing for curiosity and belonging first rather than exclusivity or high commitment. True. If the goal of that low-cost portal is to deepen connection with the right people, what would make someone feel within their first week that joining was absolutely worth it? Ooh, good question. I would say depends on their motivations. If some are curious about my more personal thoughts and process, they'll be able to have greater access to me through a private video catalog. If they want more tools to access, I'd have an organized library for them to download right away. If they want community, they could show up for the next coaching forum or engage in a chat room with me or other members by introducing themselves. They'd gain value, feel seen, and experience belonging right away. I noticed that the value you described, access to your thinking, tools, and real-time conversation, already exists in pieces across the content and ideas you've mentioned. It sounds less like you need to invent something new and more like you're gradually assembling the ecosystem those pieces will live in. Given everything we've uncovered, what feels like the single most important thing for you to focus on building over the next 3 months? Okay, it's breaking me down into a bite-sized action step. Inviting my alumni clients in for free to be founding members of this community and serve as the guinea pigs for my rapid coaching clips to post online, and constructing this portal where this membership lives. I noticed that your focus has become very concrete and grounded in people you already trust, your alumni clients. That often creates a much more stable starting point than trying to build something new for strangers. Here's the next question. If you successfully invited your alumni in as founding members, what role would you want them to play in shaping this community as it grows? Easy. They could establish the culture of belonging, model how coaching works, get engagement started, and receive real value for themselves. I noticed something interesting in what you just said. The role you described for them, modeling the culture, engaging first, showing how the culture works, is exactly what strong founding members do in communities that eventually scale well. It sounds like you're intuitively designing for culture first, growth second. Fair. If those alumni truly became the culture setters of the space, what qualities or behaviors would you most want them to embody from the beginning? Showing up and engaging, bringing their vulnerability and real requests for support, offering feedback and suggestions for content slash tools slash ways to support that. I noticed the behaviors you want are all things that happen when people feel psychologically safe and genuinely valued, not just when they have access to content. What would you need to do or model early on to make it safe for people to show up with that level of openness engagement? I would say me consistently showing up as well, sharing my own personal thoughts, offering questions for prompting conversation. I notice that what you described is exactly the same mechanism that drives your coaching. The environment begins to reflect the tone and depth that you model. If this community began to mirror the depth and curiosity you bring to your coaching, how might participating in it change the way your members relate to their businesses and lives? That's the first question that I feel like doesn't add value for me. So I think I'm gonna redirect. That's taking me down a rabbit hole. I'd like some clear direction on where to host this platform and what first steps to take from here. I think I'm like saturated. I hear you. You've done a lot of deep thinking in this conversation. At this point, you're asking for clear direction and a next move, not for more exploration. Thank you. Two quick insights before the practical steps. The structure you described, coaching clips to community to deeper offers, is actually a very coherent business model for someone whose differentiation is thinking and coaching. Cool. In this stage, the most important thing is speed of testing, not finding the perfect platform. So the goal is to pick something good enough, fast to launch, and easy to organize. Okay, so then they offer me some platform recommendations: Circle, Patreon, and School. I'm curious to hear from you in the comments if you've used any of these. I think its recommendation is Circle, and based on how it describes it here, it looks like a good fit, but I would be very curious. I know other people use Kajabi for community-based engagement platforms, so I'm curious to hear what you all recommend, but Circle seems pretty cool. It also talks about my steps. It gives me step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. It gives me a pricing structure, a big strategic insight. It says your real marketing engine isn't educational content. It's watching someone get coached by you. That is the moment people think, I want that. And that is what will attract your exact audience. One final question, not a coaching loop, a practical one. How does this plan feel in your body? Does it feel A, energizing, B, relieving, C, overwhelming, or D, still unclear? Your answer will tell us what adjustment you might need next. I say A. Thank you. All right. Okay. Now it's just recapping all the action steps for me. Okay. Let's pause, breathe, reflect. That was surprising. That was genuinely, I'm a little shook. I was not expecting to get so well supported in that conversation. I felt like I really did get what I wanted from it. I did come in feeling a little bit like it's just going to give me some surface level things again. Like the previous conversations gave me a little tools here and there, some frameworks to think about, but mostly the questions didn't go very deep. And maybe because this is more business coaching, I feel like these platforms may have more business coaching training. And granted, I say business coaching, but I really mean business consulting. Like there's more frameworks to draw from out there on the internet that may be informing the AI behind this that made this conversation more fruitful. But genuinely, I'm impressed. This was very helpful. It gave me a lot of insight onto the things that I want, the differentiators I have, the platforms and pricings, and gave me action steps to take that really feel doable and aligned and just helpful. So 10 out of 10 recommend using this bot for your own business brainstorming. I, again, am going to share the link in the comments that you can get it for free, or not in the comments, the link in the description for you to get for free. So go get access to it and brain dump your own questions about business. And I think you genuinely will get really good support out of it. And hopefully you can also bring other requests about marriage, parenthood, personal growth, any of the deeper, more personal topics. Hopefully my training will raise the level of impactfulness for what kind of coaching you receive. But regardless, I think anybody can get value out of using these tools because anybody gets value out of just talking through their own internal thoughts. So that seems to apply here with all of these different conversations I had today, from the creativity rut that I brought, the marriage and connection issue that I was having, the parenthood, and really connecting to my kid when I'm at zero capacity, and then this business question. I did feel like I'm walking away with value on all levels. It's just, it definitely skews more high value in coaching me around business than it did around the personal stuff. So maybe I can do another video if you let me know if you liked this content. I can record another iteration of this using the upgraded technology next time. But as I said, I'm very curious to hear if you got value out of just listening to me be coached and how I respond to these prompts and how it responds to me. And if you got any value for yourself today, I would really, really invite your comments and reflections. And again, just encourage you to go to the link to get your own conversation going and see what you get out of this. And with that, we've come to the end of today's episode of the Contentment Creator Podcast, where we put AI to the test to see if a chatbot can coach a life coach. Whether you caught the whole episode or one of our segments, either way, thank you so much for making it all the way to the end, and I hope that you are subscribed so you don't miss another episode. Join me in my mission to turn a world full of content creators into a world of contentment creators. Bye, y'all.